Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and I watched this video from Wings of Redemption just recently where he talked about Hutch, and it was, I don't know if I want to call it a tribute to Hutch, but he talked about his relationship and how it evolved with Hutch and what happened there. Kind of inspired this one, so I thought I'll talk about that and start from the beginning. So before Woody's Gamertag, there was Matt Woodworth. That's my real name. It used to be a secret. It's no longer a secret. It's been posted. It's easily Googleable. There's no sense in pretending I'm not. I go by Woody in real life most of the time. My wife calls me Woody. I go by Matt sometimes at work. It's kind of a mix. A long time ago, my father told me that Woody didn't sound very professional, so I should go by Matt at work, and I can go by Woody with my friends. So I did that for a long time until the nickname got out at work, and then it became a mixed environment over there. But yeah, definitely go by Woody in real life from most of the people I know. I didn't play games through maybe a lot of my 20s. I played a lot as a kid. I had Atari 2600 just to date myself. And I was pretty good at games as a kid. You know, I played Asteroids, like flip the score 18 times and such. I could play that game forever. Kind of the way that like a syndicate would play zombies now on Ascension. Like, you know, it was just pretty much he plays as long as he feels like it. Not to say he'll never die by accident, but if you're careful, you never die. I went to school. I swam my first 2 years of school. I went like full time, like as a day student, and I swam there. And then I switched to night school. And when that happened, I entered a period in my life where I worked really hard. I probably worked like 110 hours a week, and I also went to college and took like 3 courses a week. And I also had commutes, which would take like 2 hours each way, or sometimes an hour and a half each way. And or sometimes it'd be trickier, like an hour and a half to work, 40 minutes to school, then 2 hours home, stuff like that. And I just, pretty much whenever I was awake, I was working. I did that for a long time, like 10, 12 more years. And during that time, I didn't really play video games. You know, all I did is work and learn and study, and that was it. So what happened was my friend Dan, who was on Painkiller already, he had trouble with his wife. He's married. He was married, and she got on Facebook and met this guy. And she didn't have any like physical relationship with this guy, but she had an emotional affair. And you might think to yourself, like, emotional affair, like, does that even count? But it does. And he talked to her, and he was like, you need to stop. Like, for him, an emotional affair was forgivable, whereas like a physical affair would be unforgivable. And when he told her she needed to stop, she said no. She kind of chose this stranger over him, and that was unacceptable. And as he was kind of getting his head on straight and figuring out what to do, and she would do things that seemed hurtful on purpose, he stayed with me at my house. And I saw a commercial for this game, Left 4 Dead, on TV. And on that commercial, there's one time where Lewis, the character Lewis in the game, I think he's a bald black guy, and he's like, all that time at the range is finally paying off, for the zombie apocalypse. And I was spending a lot of time at the range, and somehow that really appealed to me. So when he stayed with me to, work out his marriage issues, I guess, he brought his Xbox. I bought Left 4 Dead. We picked up some Xbox Live Gold cards. I made my account, and that was it. So my original account was matt.woodworth. That was my gamer tag. And I rocked that for a while. People would make fun of it in lobbies, though. Like, it would really get noticed. So I eventually changed it to Woody's Gamertag. When I first started playing after this game, I played Gears of War. I got into that, and I kind of got into Horde mode, but I never really got into the multiplayer. And I didn't play it enough to build my own judgment. I wasn't good enough to judge the game, but I kept hearing that the multiplayer on Gears 2 was so broken that it wasn't good, so I never really got into it. And I got into COD 4. So I started playing COD 4 a lot, like a ton. Like, it was my passion. It was everything. At work all day long, I was thinking about like what I could be doing in COD 4. And before I got into multiplayer on COD 4, I played the single player campaign. I kind of treat single player campaigns as like training modes, where you're going to learn to play the game, learn the controls, do your thing, and then you can step into multiplayer and try for real. So that was my take on it, and I wanted to play the campaign in veteran, so that when I hopped in multiplayer, I was the best. You know, that was my ignorant line of thinking. I wanted to like beat this game on veteran, so I was struggling to beat the game on veteran. In particular, there was one no fighting in the war room was the part of it that I just found really difficult. If you never did no fighting in the war room on veteran, it's pretty hard. There's a timer on it, and I got myself to this point where I just barely made it fast enough on the timer to hit the save point, but it meant that I had to be really good for the rest of it, and I nearly paid someone to beat the damn game for me. But after like 300 tries, I finally got it, kind of like Mile High Club. But so then I played multiplayer, and what I meant to say, the reason I brought that up is that's where I discovered the COD YouTube scene. I would watch these like Let's Plays on how to get through no fighting in the war room, and people were just awesome at this game, like a whole nother level. And that's when I discovered like how YouTube could help you do better in video games. So that's how I got started. And I forget what that guy's name was. I think his real name was Jason, but I forgot his username account. And somehow I found, the original YouTubers. I didn't even have a YouTube account at the time, but I would watch Hutch and Blame Truth and XCal. I'd watch CNanners a little bit. I hadn't discovered Wings of Redemption at this point. I'd watch Beyond. Some guy started with an I. I don't think it was Impulse, but he had like that super high KD. And yeah, like I watched XCal's Road to Commander series on COD 4, which by today's standards wouldn't get watched very much because it was uncommentated. But I bet I watched that entire thing like 3 times, like just to figure out what his magic was, how that happened. And that's what I was like. I would fanboy all over. And what I really wanted was to start playing games with the other YouTubers. Like that was something that would have meant a lot to me. So I would leave nice comments on their videos all the time. And I would always rate them 5 stars. But somehow that didn't really like get me noticed. Like I had this hope that they'd start recognizing like, Vanguard Anon. That was my YouTube account at the time. That guy is a good sub. He's nice to me. But I kind of got to the point where it was like, if I really want to be a peer of these YouTubers, I need to make my own YouTube account. So that's where that came from. I made my own YouTube account, and I changed my gamer tag from Matt Woodworth to WoodysGamertag, so I decided to make it match, so that people could find it, and when they saw my gamer tag in the game, they'd know my channel and stuff like that. It seemed like a good idea. So my first YouTube videos didn't even have gameplay. I was so excited about making videos that I would get Sony Vegas and start making intros myself, which were just so bad. And I made videos that didn't require gameplay. Like I did this one thing where I captured my screen and talked to it, and I talked about like the weapons and like what stopping power does for a weapon, what like sort of the things that Team Art would do now, but the production quality was lower back then. And some of the sniper rifles didn't even benefit from stopping power, but that's not entirely obvious unless you spend a lot of time like learning weapon stats. So I taught that to people. And some guns like the UMP benefited from stopping power, but in a lot of situations they didn't. So it was like, this might be an opportunity to run something other than stopping power. That's what my video was about. I made another video about comparing headsets versus surround sound systems. And like I said, I made that because it didn't require gameplay. Like I didn't have to capture footage. But there was another reason I made it too. My experience with watching people play, in my head, I would build them up as superheroes because in game they were superheroes. And it was like, this guy is the most amazing player in the world. I bet in real life, he's the captain of the football team. I bet in real life, he's 6'4". He's at 220 pounds of solid muscle, probably an Olympic athlete, dark-haired, brown, handsome stud of a man, maybe leads in movies. Like that was my impression. And it turns out that YouTubers look like normal people. Like that's the truth of it. Some of them are that guy and some of them are not, and some of them are heavy, some of them are skinny, some of them are young, some of them are old. YouTubers look like everybody else does. And while I know this, I kind of wanted to like get that disappointment out of the way, or at least maybe never create it. People should know what I look like from the very beginning. I'm sorry I shot you, Vengeful, but I'll make good on it. So anyway, yeah, one of the reasons I showed myself on camera with my second video ever was so that like it would always be out there what I actually look like, and like people wouldn't be disappointed when they saw me for the first time and realized that I was a normal person. So yeah, so that's how that started. And those videos did well. I think I posted one to Reddit, or maybe I replied to somebody on Reddit, and that was like the initial way to get started. Like back in the day, you could like post on some Call of Duty forums or something like that and just let people know about what you're up to. And Wings of Redemption had a channel that I was watching a lot because he would teach people about games. And at the time, Wings of Redemption was Happy Wings. Like, he was so excited. He was so happy. His channel was blowing up and everything was going fantastic. And as a way to sort of say a thank you to his subs, he was doing dual comms with them. All he asked was that you have a good mic and some gameplay. That was it. So, I shot him a letter and he didn't reply, and I shot him a letter and he didn't reply, and maybe by the third or fourth one he was down. So I was totally ready. It was like a really big deal. I had my whole house be quiet, so as not to get on the mighty Wings of Redemption's bad side. I wanted to be the perfect dual comm partner for him. And I was so prepared, crazy prepared, right? Like, I had notes, this is what I'm going to talk about at 58 seconds. This is what I'm going to talk about at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. This is what I'm going to talk about at 3.5 minutes. And that way there would never be a lull or anything. And I would have also good things to say. So it went great. It went amazingly well. Like, the comments were filled with we love Woody. Don't do dual comms with anybody else, because he had done some other dual comms before me. And the comments were filled with only do dual comms with Woody type stuff, and that was a blast. So he did more dual not only with me, but he did more dual comms with me. And it was like one stat that I'm still kind of proud of. 10% of the people that watched that video subscribed to my channel. Like, that was the deal. Like that's a pretty high rate. If you get, I forget what it was. Like, I got like 20,000 views on that video and 2,000 subs. I forget. Maybe that's a little high. Maybe it was 10,000 views and 1,000 subs, but it was this crazy ratio. Like, people who watched it ended up subbing to me, and that was like something I was really proud of. And I'm still thankful for Wings for helping me get started. After that, I had like one more really significant shout out. Hutch himself. So Hutch and I did Camp Hutch, and it was going to go up on Respawn. And at the time, Respawn videos were like really well watched. Like, that was the thing. Respawn was the bomb. If you got a video on Respawn, it'd be a great day, for growth and stuff. And there was no real money involved at the time, but it was just about sub count and like community status, I guess, And I was never after being the biggest guy. Like, that was never my goal. My goal was to make friends, like I was saying earlier. My goal was to get into games with these YouTubers, which is why I made the channel in the first place. So we did Camp Hutch, and then for whatever reason, like I still don't know, he wasn't able to upload it. Like, week would go by, it didn't go up. Another week, and eventually he was like, you know what? Now I feel like our commentary got a little bit dated. So instead of that, why don't you just make a video and put it on my channel? So I did, and he actually gave me the password to his channel. Like, I had the password to Hutch's channel, and Hutch was the biggest gaming channel in the world at the time, #1. And it felt like he just handed me Zeus's thunderbolt, and he was like, "Here, take this, be good." And I was good, of course. I didn't do anything evil, but he trusted me with his password. It's a really big deal. And I uploaded my video to his channel, and that was at 10,000 subs, and that was really my last boost. I've gone from 10,000 to 760,000, something like that. Mostly just uploading my own videos. Like, that's the real key to growth. I upload on a regular schedule so people can find your stuff and make good content. That's the core of all this stuff. That's how you do it well. So Hutch did that for me. Another thing that Hutch did for me, even before this, when I was watching Hutch's videos, I would he did like a self fundraiser, I guess you'd call it. He asked for money so that he could upgrade to HD equipment, and he needed a couple $100, and I was willing to donate $20. I was like, I'll give you $20 if you play with me. Now, that didn't sit right on Hutch's moral compass. Hutch is a good guy. And so Hutch was like, no, I can't take money from my subs to play with you. And I was like, no, you can. You absolutely can. And it would be an honor for me. And he says, no, I won't do it. So I was like, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you $20. And then if you play with me or not, that's on you. And suddenly I put him in this position of going from, well, the right, like, moral thing to do is not to take money just to play with somebody, to, well, shucks, now I have this money, and the right moral thing to do is to play with him. So I did. I played with Hutch all night, and I played actually with all the Optic guys that night. And it was like this super cool thing. So we played pro mod lobbies and stuff like that. And I didn't do great, but I held my own, and I felt good about it. So I'm more than happy with that. Since then, a lot of like YouTubers, not me, have taken money to play with people or taken money to put people on their friends list. And in my mind, knock yourself out. You know, it's between you and your customers to whether or not that's a good deal. There shouldn't be some other guy standing on the sideline saying, you're ripping him off. No, 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 no. You know, if somebody, like, maybe it's a grown-up or something, and, you know, to him, $50 to get on a friends list or something is more than reasonable. I know a guy that charged $50 for Call of Duty lessons, and to me, it's like, yeah, you know, the guy kept coming back. He did more lessons and more lessons and more lessons. I don't know how many hours he eventually bought, but at $50 an hour, he kept coming back for more, and he felt like he was getting a good value. So I'm fine with it. You know, if you're happy and your customer's happy, then you've got something good going on. It kind of reminds me of the shout out thing that I went through. I took a lot of drama as one of my haters, you know, like outed the fact that I sold advertising on my channel. On that note, I'm going to break this right here. I'll upload the history of Woody Part 2 later today. The other thing you can check out is Borderlands 2, The First Impressions, and that's a pretty good video. So, new game coming out I'm excited about. Check that out. If you're new around here and you enjoyed it, subscribe in the top right, surprise video on the side, and have a good day.